Because they're all mine, and that cheeses me because I have no socks. This man's wearing my socks.
Well, come to my room and take them out of my drawer.
I will.
Like,
Those are my pants too, if anyone wants to know. So last week, we had an awful week. Unfortunately, we qualified 9th, which was really great, and then we were running 9th or 10th in the first feature when we got spun out, which I don't know what happened to the car, but something drastically changed, and it was just handling so awful. And we tried to fix it for our second feature. Unfortunately, we couldn't fix it, and nothing we did seemed to work. So in the shop this week, we just basically went back to square one and undid everything we've done to the car so far and set it back to almost like a neutral setting, kind of. And we're gonna see where it goes from there, and then we're gonna see how the car reacts to it and how I react to it.
That's right. Ooh. Not bad. Give me a hand with the hood. For the first time ever, last week it got loose bad. Up until that point, for the last number of weeks, we've been chasing a tight problem right in the middle. Last week was another struggle. Unfortunately, we seem to have lost the handle, and although we've made a lot of changes and a lot of attempts to make a difference in what we're doing on the racetrack, the result seems to be the same. We're struggling from center of the feature on. You know, we qualified decent, and then the car ran well for a handful of laps, got involved in an on-track incident, was spun out, lost a tire, just couldn't get it back after that. And even in the second feature, although we were running a little bit better, just nowhere near where we need to be as far as where we want to be. So this past week, again, we made a bunch of changes. We were in the shop quite a bit. We made a lot of changes to where we were last week. That being said, I think we're closer to maybe where we were at the beginning of the year when she had some better success on the racetrack. So hopefully we can recreate that with the changes that we've made. Made adjustments to some rear end parts, made some adjustments to the front end. We're on the scales and just made an abundance of changes. And through our first couple of practices, again, we're fingers crossed, hopefully going to be where we need to be come qualifying, and even more so come feature time at the end of 35 laps. We've made a couple adjustments this week. I cut some more off the nose. We've brought the front end down, trying to change how the car is handling, and we're back on the racetrack with different components of the race car. So once the nose cone or part of the chassis or the body hits the ground, it's going to remove the traction that the tires are going to get from the racetrack. So what I'm doing is putting some tape here, and after practice, we'll check to see if this tape is wore off or if it's still there. If the tape is wore off, that's an indication that the nose cone is still scraping the racetrack, and it's going to remove traction from the front tires, which might allow the front end to chase up the racetrack. One of the things we've been fighting with, so it's a real simplistic way to look at things, but it's been very effective for us to determine whether it's working or not. If we need to make another adjustment, we might make it in the front to bring the front down a little bit.
Okay.
But we'll continue to check to make sure that we stay off the racetrack.
10-4.
Now we'll have a better gauge because there'll be other cars out there, okay?
Okay.
I want you to race hard. I want you to get in and really work the throttle apex out so you can get really good bite coming off, because with the lower gear, with the other changes, you have to get off the corner good in order to have straightaway speed to get people at the end or not get beat at the back end.
10-4.
Okay, kiddo. Check. Okay, get into it here, get into it.
Our first practice run went okay. The car was a little bit loose from the center off, which is not ideal, especially with the built motors. You want to take advantage of them and be able to be on the gas fully as soon as possible. So unfortunately, that's a bit of a disadvantage for us. But other than that, the car was handling pretty well.
there's definitely a number of things that we can say are contributing to some added pressure. We're coming down to the end of the race season. We've got 2 points nights left, so 4 points features left. We want to end strong. She can jump back up a spot in the points and given some really good results, maybe 2. On top of that, as you can see by my attire, I'm not just the crew chief, spotter, tower, dad today, I'm also the driver of the number 94 mini stock. So the number 94 mini stock is driven by Stefan Woislaw, who's busy at a wedding tonight. And again, near the end of the year, he's in a points battle in the mini stock. I think he's almost locked into 5th, and what they need is a driver to compete in this car tonight in order to keep him in the points. So he's tagged me in to run for the number 94 today in the mini stock division.
Okay, perfect.
For a couple of practices. We're not setting the world on fire, but we are going to start the feature. We're going to start the heat races and hopefully keep him in contention for his points race. And along the way, Brendan can have some fun, Dad can have some fun, and maybe take some pressure off of the spotter side of things.
Second practice, or do you want to just go into the heat?
Yeah, I'll probably run the second as well, depending on what I got with Kendra after the first practice, but I'll probably be over for second practice as well, huh?
Thanks, bud.
Right on, thank you.
It looked loose going in. You were sawing at the wheel pretty bad too in the corner.
I was. Hard to tell though, because I didn't have anyone really to race with.
Well,
I mean, I'm not going to be racing with Daniel and those guys, and I know that. So I got beating the guys he's beating.
Yeah. Like the car looked fast on the straightaway, but it looked like once you went into the corner, there's nothing going in.
Yeah, I was choking too much going in, I think. I needed a little better roll in and wider. And I was coming in real sharp. I was telling Hal, coming in sharp, which then I was really having to, turn the car, cut in the middle.
Yeah.
And that's great. As soon as you cut it, you can floor it.
Your line was okay, but it was like once you got off the gas, the car slowed down so much.
Okay, so I can go in harder? Is what you're saying? Okay.
You wouldn't understand this.
No, I don't. I don't know.
You don't know.
I don't know the struggle of the late model driver life.
I know you don't, Ken.
I know the struggle of the late model spotter, hauler, dad, wrencher.
Yeah, but you don't know the struggle of the driver.
I wish I knew the struggle of the driver.
Lifetime college student.
Oh, yeah.
Full-time worker. Full-time race car driver. Full-time TV host.
1 week of college. College life is hard.
It is.
We put a turn and a half back in the left front low bolt. We took out a packer.
Yeah.
And we opened up the stagger.
Yeah.
Are you good with that?
Yeah.
For qualifying?
Yeah.
And I know you only get 5 laps, but especially lap 3, 4, 5, try and get a good feel for what the car's doing so we can make some adjustments if need be for the feature.
Right.
Yeah, all the way down. Harder, get deep into 3 and then
Our qualifying effort wasn't the greatest. The car didn't feel awful, but it definitely wasn't what we were hoping. And to stack up against the rest of the field, we definitely weren't where we want to be. So we took 1 turn out of both of the front load bolts, which will just bring the car up a little bit. I think the car was getting upset and was really losing a lot of speed because it was hitting the racetrack. So we're here at Sunset Speedway, and today we're here to talk to the live wire Nick Goetz about his incredible season here in the top 5. Hey Nick, thanks for being on the show.
No problem.
So today we just want to talk a little bit about your incredible season and how you feel so far.
Yeah, I mean, we came out of the gate pretty good the beginning of the year, and we've maintained consistency throughout the year. We did run into some engine trouble, which set us back from the points leader, but we're still solid second right now, but still got two nights to go.
Okay, sounds good. So finishing out the rest of the season, even with those troubles early on, how do you think you stack up to the first place champion so far, Gord Shepherd? Do you think that you have time to catch him in the championship? Do you think that you're able to? How do you think the rest of the season is going to play out?
It's been tight. I'm not going to lie. Between me and Gord, we've been battling 1-2 all year, not even really touching, to be honest. Every race we've been 30 laps side by side for a couple races in a row. He is a champion already, right? I've never been a champion at any track. To just a race against him kind of, feels like I am becoming that champion. Unfortunately, he is, with 2 nights to go, like I think 40 points out from me. But I mean, anything is impossible, or is possible. I mean, but it's you can never give up. You just got to go into each night going for the win and let the points play out.
Comparing the amount of time that you've raced against some of the other people here, like Gord Shepherd, you are winning a lot. You are constantly up there. And how do you do that? What different aspects of your racing program do you attest to being that high up?
Well, I mean, it all starts back at McCall's there. I mean, with Paul Ganoli's there, they've definitely done a tremendous job this year. Coming in and crew chiefing me this year and taking over from Rick McCall last year, and the team's just turned around like 180 degrees. And right out of the gate, we had a couple wins already, and I mean, I'm just shocked to even see myself even have 6 wins, to be competing against Gord 1-2 every night. You never know who's going to come out with the win.
The season's closing up, and we can't wait to see how the rest of the season plays out.
Absolutely. I mean, even just racing with you and watching you learn too. That's the best part about these kind of races too, right? I mean,
definitely.
This is your first year. You've done everything you could to have the best year possible, and I'm happy for you as well. So.
Not today. He's not completely focused on me. He'll be a little bit focused on me, and then a little bit focused on his own racing today. He'll be racing the number 94 mini stock for a friend who's just at a wedding today.
Here we go, heat number 1, 94 mini stock, start and scratch. See what we get.
We're back racing for 10 more laps.
Okay, Dad, relax. And that scares me.
They come around and complete lap number 1. There, the Gord will settle for second.
Let's leave it as is.
Okay. Yeah, buddy.
Thank you.
Dad, I need you to hurry because I'm next and I need help.
Okay, yeah, for
good
sure.
job. The car looks too tight coming off, and if you pinch people that run at the back, you're gonna get spun out. So only pinch top runner guys.
Thank you, I will.
Because you're too close to
Too close to
everybody
them?
else,
Okay,
yeah.
especially those front wheel drivers?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a ton of fun. The mini stocks were always a ton of fun to drive. I had never driven one before we had Kendra in that Honda, and I had it out a couple of times. A lot of fun. A lot different than what I was used to with the late models and the Challengers that I'd driven before, but a lot of fun to drive. So thanks to Stefan for letting me drive the car for him. A lot of fun.
Once you're clearing people, you're gone.
Okay. Awesome.
But you're too tight coming off the corner, you're gonna stick it in the turn 4 wall. Okay, so I had a question.
Yeah? What change did you make?
I put 2.5, so it's 14.5. It was at 12.
Okay.
So I put 14.5.
Okay. Did you touch the right rear at all?
I didn't touch
I think the rights are going to come up a few more pounds and a few more. Say, Brian.
Were you 94?
I was.
I thought it was.
Yeah, that's me. Driving Stephanie's at a wedding tonight.
Hey, knees are up like this in your chin. Hey?
All jammed up.
Just like a dog. Like a dog. football. Yeah, yeah. I was thinking, that car's never gone that far. Oh, you almost went in the wall. Did you see that?
Oh yeah, that was a little crazy. Just sending her, Brian. Just sending her.
Yeah, that's right. The only way you know.
That's it.
Pedal down, turn left.
That's it. Let's go, buddy. Pull that outside. You got inside. One back.
So the last race didn't go very well. We unfortunately had another problem with the car. We were really down on power in our motor the last couple weeks, especially this week, and I couldn't get the power to the wheels, what little power I had, and I could not get off the corner at all. So unfortunately, that was a little bit of a disappointment. I think we finished 14th, which isn't bad at all, considering. Leave it in gear. So I'm disappointed that we finished outside the top 12 because that was my goal so I could get into the redraw. But starting 14th, so we're really not that far outside of the top 10, which is amazing. And also the leader is going to be starting 12th. Like the guy that won the last race will be starting 12th, which means I'll be starting right behind them. Hopefully that'll give me a good chance with the adjustments we've made to follow him.
The big check's going to be, do I even have the jets? Plugs are cooked? I don't think they look rich.
Yeah, no, they're not.
Yeah.
The electrode's pretty low.
What do you think, Steve? I'm not a motor guy, so.
Worn to me.
I'm not a motor guy, so I'll take their word.
Plugs right there.
Randall's gapping them in the trailer.
Yeah, they look worn out, like worn.
So after a few series of unfortunate events here at Sunset for my program today, we are going out during intermission for a couple laps as we've been having some motor problems and some setup problems, so they were kind enough to let me go out for a few practice laps. Yeah, huge power-wise.
Can the steering problem be that the front of the car is bottoming out?
It might, no, I don't think so because
hear that?
it's actually, I can hear it hitting the track bad. And
it's not.
and I think it's actually, my dad welded these pieces on to the chassis. Watch out.
It's gone.
Oh my gosh. It might have been taken off. Check there. Maybe it's in there. Yeah, I'm talking about the load bolt. Do you want to do like one turn up, one turn up?
No, I wouldn't do that. Because you never know how consistent that's going to be. Where if you just put the Packers in, you're going to.
But like when I hit the Packers, the car doesn't turn.
The one that's in there is half of this one. Now.
Yeah, but I don't want to put, like I don't want.
No, I'll take that out
Kendra, you got something?
and put the bigger one.
Compared to when you were out there earlier, hitting much worse now?
I wasn't hitting the car on the track earlier,
Earlier.
but now I am.
Is that because you're?
What did we
It's
change?
because it's faster, yeah. We've actually made a ton of adjustments, including air pressure adjustments. We adjusted our stagger to open it up a little bit more. We moved the rear trailing arm, the right rear trailing arm forward, so the car would be tighter coming off. We changed a couple of the Packers in our bump springs, so we would be up off the track. And yeah, we're gonna make a big driver change when I go out there because I hate these things and I do not want them in my car, but it's either that or hitting the racetrack, and neither are ideal, but this at least I can change. I'm pretty sure there was no cautions, or there was one caution near the beginning of the race, and honestly, there was nowhere to go in that whole race. Everyone was 2x2, and then once it went single file, I mean, like it's hard to get an edge on cars, so there was very little passing, especially from the back, and yeah, the car handled pretty well, but the race didn't go as we thought or as we wanted it to go.
The car responded well to the changes we made for the feature. Again, the results don't necessarily show it, but it's some of the better than we've run. Now that being said, I could tell real early in the race race car was hitting the racetrack again. Saw some sparks flying from just off the cross member. So we're gonna have to continue to do some work to get the car up off the racetrack, but in the right way. We don't wanna just jack on the load bolts. We're gonna have to make some adjustments, whether it be to the bumps or the way the car's set up. Maybe I'll take those skid plates off that I put on. They might be a little too thick and it's not letting the car get down where it should be, but I didn't want to take the oil pan out. So I'm going to do some measuring this week back at the shop and we'll determine what we got to do to keep the race car off the racetrack, because if you start hitting the racetrack, the nose is just going to slide up the racetrack and you're not going to get around the corner very well.
I could definitely feel that we had more power on the straightaway and through the corner. I was actually getting on the gas earlier than I ever have before. I think if we can figure out how to make our car not hit the track, we'll definitely be in a better spot.
It was a very busy day between wrenching on this car, making a ton of changes to the 2 late model, but also driving the 94 mini stock. And my thanks to Stefan for letting me drive for him. He was away at a wedding, wanted the car out, helps him out in the sunset points, and I gotta say, man, I'm smiling just talking about it. That's the most fun I've had in a car in a long time. That mini stock division is absolutely so much fun to race. It's great too. I'm not in it for anything other than to drive the car and have a really good time. So there was no pressure other than get in and drive the car and get what we get, but a ton of fun. It's a great division. There's some really, really good talent in that division, some really good up-and-comers, and that's what we need to filter into the super stocks and then filter into the late models so we can keep full fields in all divisions. So my hat's off to Stefan. That was a blast. And Kelly said to Kendra when I got out of the race car, when we're done with the late model and Kendra sells her late model, we're going to get into a mini stock maybe and have fun again.